It appears that some free agents are choosing WWE over AEW. We're going to talk about that. TNA Slammiversary, surprises, and yes, we're going to talk about SummerSlam. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show. Yes. Welcome back to The Ango Show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to kick things off with TNA Slammiversary. It's going down this weekend. Obviously, a lot of hype for Slammiversary. And this is largely due to the fact that WWE and TNA are absolutely killing it in their partnership. I want to talk about this because Jordynne Grace was speaking with Sports Illustrated. She is promoting the pay-per-view, and she said something very interesting. Jordynne Grace says the surprises are going to be even bigger than people realize. TNA and NXT do surprises better than any other promotion. I don't think anyone can argue that. If you're tired of accidentally reading spoilers, watch Slammiversary. Our goal is to make fans all fall back in love with wrestling. And this gets really interesting because one of the complaints that people have about TNA Slammiversary and the WWE NXT partnership, you know, a lot of people are thinking that WWE isn't necessarily sending their best talent over to TNA. We know that the Rascals will all be together in a trios match. Obviously, we have Jordynne Grace versus Ash by Elegance. We saw Izzy Dame show up. What is Jordynne Grace talking about? What kind of surprises do they actually have here? And I swear I genuinely don't know, which makes it really freaking fun, because when I think of TNA and WWE, I do think of NXT and TNA. I mean, that is largely where the cross promotion is happening. I think it works out in both companies' favors to a certain degree. For WWE, it's more of like a PR thing. For TNA, it's more of like an actual business thing. TNA Slammiversary is going to have over 4,000 people in attendance. This is the largest, gate in over 10 years. I mean, it's exciting. So is it going to be a surprise debut, a return? Like what exactly is WWE and TNA planning here? And I hate to say this because obviously Jordynne Grace is promoting the pay-per-view, but I feel like when you hype up a pay-per-view and you hype up surprises, you do got to be careful with them. This was something I did talk a lot about with WWE and AEW in the past on this channel. If you are going to talk about surprises and you don't deliver good surprises, the immediate reaction goes wild on Twitter. And I feel like that's put AEW and WWE in some weird situations, It's nothing that they can't recover from, but I'm just saying if WWE and TNA don't have something big happening here, I do think there's going to be disappointment. So now I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea of what could those surprises be, and genuinely speaking, I don't know. So definitely something to pay attention to. I'll be watching TNA Slammiversary. Hopefully you guys are as well. WWE SummerSlam. Just yesterday, I was talking about some fantasy booking, and I thought it was really interesting because I was trying to talk about, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk and how great that storyline is. But today, there was a very interesting report that came out, and it came from WrestleVotes. And I want to read this to you guys because I feel like this is such a just coincidental, really. WrestleVotes comes out and says, sources state the current plans have Seth Rollins as the special guest referee for CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Creative is proceeding under the assumption that Punk will be ready for action, with the anticipated clearance date set for the Monday beforehand, which is July 29th. And WrestleVotes also put in there, another tweet with the image of Undertaker and Bret Hart, where Shawn Michaels was the special guest referee, and that was WWF SummerSlam, which was a long time ago, obviously. I find this interesting because I was literally talking about this in yesterday's video, where I think Drew McIntyre will beat CM Punk, but it's going to be because of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins will screw CM Punk, and that's how we're now going to transition into that single story. And this gets Drew McIntyre away from CM Punk. And low key, like when I was fantasy booking this and talking about this, I was just thinking like, this is really good. Like this could be a really good thing because Drew McIntyre has been losing and he has been getting screwed by CM Punk. Now the tables will turn and then it transitions into Punk and Rollins. And really, one of the big concerns that I had is like the dynamic, right? I spoke about this in yesterday's video, where the dynamic of who's a babyface and who's a heel. With these three gentlemen, none of that really matters. They have made this feel so real since the day that CM Punk has entered the company. So I'm really glad that like they're blurring the lines. Obviously, we know it is scripted entertainment, but I feel like they're doing a good job of trying to blur the lines. And when they do something like that, I feel like it's just a little bit more of an intriguing storyline. I think that's a really nice key element in a world where we know things are scripted. If you can make it feel real, that's an accomplishment. And I feel like they've done a really, really good job with that. So I'm excited about this. I think Seth Rollins being a special guest referee is actually the right decision as well. It's not like he has a very strong storyline going into SummerSlam. Plus, you got Gunther versus Damian Priest. So you're eliminating the repetitive rematches that you constantly see in WWE television back in the day. This keeps things fresh. And yeah, I like obviously the homage to Bret Hart, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels. So this is a good thing in my opinion. Obviously, WWE creatively will have to execute this properly, but I like the idea. I think the idea is good. And that brings us to our final topic. The Motor City Machine Guns are expected to sign with WWE. Wrestling Observer Newsletter came out and said that Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley are expected to be coming to WWE, or at least that is the talk within wrestling. It's been known for months that they had been talking with AEW and WWE ever since their TNA contracts expired. Of late, the indications were made that WWE made a better offer, but they were expected to be whatever company did put in the best offer. Within wrestling, the belief is that they are WWE bound, and Tommaso Ciampa made a reference to them in social media. They've also been completely silent about it and clearly have made their decision one way or the other. Now, obviously, I have said this so many times when it comes to Dave Meltzer talking about stories like this, but I do want to just point this out. The indication that we got last week from PWN was that they were leaning towards WWE. Fightful also chimed in on that as well. So the thing is, while there may not necessarily be a 100% confirmation from WWE, at this point, there are so many sources coming out and saying that the Motor City Machine Guns are headed to WWE. It just seems like that is the most likely thing. Now, what's interesting is earlier in this video, we were talking about TNA Slammiversary. And I have to wonder if Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley show up at Slammiversary, but this time on behalf of WWE and revealing that they've signed with WWE. I also want to point out, are they expected to be in NXT or the main roster? Now, these guys are so damn good, I want to see them on the main roster, but WWE is loading up the NXT roster just before they go to the CW. So at this point, I really don't know. Am I shocked that they chose WWE over AEW? To be quite honest with you, yeah, I thought initially when there was rumors of them leaving, I thought they would go to AEW. I thought Tony Khan would secure them, and I am a little bit shocked that they're choosing not to go there. In the same notion, though, I just want to say both companies are struggling with getting their tag team divisions to feel important, right? WWE features the tag team division on TV, but it doesn't feel as important as it should. And AEW's tag team division doesn't feel as important either ever since they brought in the trios belts. So I don't know what I'm supposed to feel, but I do hope that WWE understands. They brought in GOD, right? They brought in Jacob Fatu. You got the Creeds and Chad Gable doing stuff on Raw. You have tons of teams. You have the Pride. In NXT, you just moved Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis. You have the Family. You have Gallus. Like, they got tag teams in their company. Where do they put Shelley and Chris Sabin? I'm curious. If you send them to Orlando, they're going to get a pop. If they go to the main roster, I would like to think that they're going to get a pop, but you just simply never know at this stage of the game. So yeah, I'm just bringing that up. I think it's a very interesting topic. I'm not necessarily, mad about it. I think they'll do fine in WWE. They're veterans. They're great. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what happens. And guys, this is why free agency is great. Honestly, this is why free agency is great, because you never know where people are going to go. And it's not a sure thing anymore that somebody is going to sign, just one team or whatever. So definitely keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.